Hello again everyone. Okay, so part 3 of line and wash, looking at the materials that we use for line and wash. So last time we tried out some line drawing in different ways, so with pens, ordinary pens like your type of felt tip pens, dip pen, fountain pen, etc. Now today, type of paper for line and wash. The type of watercolour paper you use will give you a very different effect with your lines. This probably is obvious to a lot of people, but anyway, we'll go through it anyway. So here I've got some samples of 2 very rough surfaces of paper. Both Saunders Waterford. Bockingford is made by the same company, St Cuthbert's Mill, as Saunders Waterford. This one's slightly tinted. If you're wondering about the different types of paper, the different colours, this one's slightly tinted, sort of a beige, and this one's white. So that's the difference there. This one is rough, £300. This one is extra rough, and this one is £140. So this one is a slightly thinner paper than this one, but it's mainly the surface that I'm looking at, the rough and extra rough surfaces. So this might not have quite such an effect if you're using your pens, these kind of your pip pens. Will make more of a difference if you're using something like a dip pen on the surface of these papers, because as you can imagine, it's a bit more difficult to draw with a nib on a rough surface. So it's quite hard to do a straight line because it's going up and down with the roughness of the paper. This is the extra rough on this side. I mean, it's okay, but it's bumpy, so you're going to get a slightly different effect than you will get on a smoother paper. Okay, so if you love rough paper, which a lot of people do because they love the texture when they come to put washes on, and you've got those little troughs in the paper, if you've got a granulating pigment, it will settle into the troughs, and you can get sparkle on water, that kind of thing, using rough paper. When it comes to the actual pen work, it's a little bit more tricky on the rough paper, but you might find it absolutely fine, having said that. So the watercolour paper we use most of the time for general things is the cold pressed or knot paper. This is a £140 one again. So a smoother surface, so a kind of a medium texture surface. There's a bit of texture there, but not too much, not as much as the rough papers. Middle of the road paper. So obviously it's a bit easier to actually draw on this paper because it's a bit smoother, particularly with your nib pens. But still a little bit difficult if you wanted to do really, really fine detailed work. The sort of thing that the botanical artists would do, for instance, when you're getting really, really down to those realistic little details. A little bit difficult on these slightly rougher textured papers. A lot of botanical artists will therefore use the hot press paper. This is a fairly thin one. This is a £90 HP hot pressed. It's a very, very smooth texture, not very bumpy at all, so easier to draw on. Pen glides across it quite easily, so it would be better for very small details, that kind of thing. Actually, it's really nice the way the pen just glides over that surface. We go back to the extra rough to see the difference. quite a different feel to it. Having said that, different things for different artists. So, you know, you may find you actually like working on this texture. You might find you like fine detail and the way the pen kind of slips across the surface. Easy drawing on this one. So there you go. So all those things to think about before you do a painting of any kind, but you know, we are focusing on a line and wash, so before you start you want to think about the type of ink you're going to use, usually a waterproof ink, the type of instrument you're going to use, a dip pen, an ordinary pen like this, or like a felt tip type pen, fountain pen, etc. So all the things to consider before you start. And I'm hoping to send you a line and wash exercise to do. So I actually might start that off with a video as well. The first stages at least with a video. So watch this space basically. Thanks for listening, watching. I'm hoping you're going to go off now and find yourself the right ink, the ink that you would like to use, the type of pen you would like to use, and the type of paper that you think you would like to use to try out a line and wash. Okay, stay safe everybody. See you soon. Bye.